Hello there, aspiring Tennos. Today we're going to talk about experience points, or affinity as it's called in Warframe. I'm going to explain how this whole system works because it's not exactly intuitive, and then I'm going to tell you how you can level your stuff most efficiently, both solo and in duos, and I'll also touch on doing other stuff while leveling. Without further ado, let's get into it. But actually, I'll mention that this comes from my Discord, where you can suggest video ideas. If there's something you'd like me to cover, please go ahead and head over there and leave a request in video request channel. The link will be down below. All right, let's get into it. Since I am the spreadsheet guy, and only the spreadsheet guy, let's go ahead and talk about this. But don't worry, I won't dwell on this for too long. We'll just go through it real quick. So let's say that your Warframe kills something, right? Go zoom in a little bit more. The Warframe kills something, it gets 100% of the experience, your weapon gets nothing, and your companion gets nothing. And their weapon gets nothing as well. However, if you are in operator mode when the enemy dies, let's say Saren with her dot damage for example, then the amp will get the affinity instead of your Warframe, otherwise it will get 0. If your companion kills, then it will get half of the affinity, and its weapon will get half of the affinity. If it's something like a Cupro, which doesn't have a weapon, then it will get 100% instead. As you can see, this always comes out to a total of 100% affinity. It's just spread across different items. Now, if you kill something with your primary weapon, then the primary weapon will get half, and your Warframe will also get half of the affinity. This goes for secondaries and melee as well. The weapon which kills gets half of the affinity, and the Warframe gets the rest, while your other weapons gets nothing. Now, down here, when our allies kill, so you'll see we actually get 200%. And that's because our companion and our Warframe or operator is two different systems, and they can both receive affinity at the same time. So by leeching, you're actually doubling the efficiency. Alright, that's why I recommend that you do this in duos. Okay. Now, if an ally kills, your Warframe and your weapons each receive 25% affinity. Your companion will also receive 25% affinity, and their weapon will receive 75%. Now, if the companion does not have a weapon equipped, then they will receive 100% affinity instead. Not 100% of the affinity, but 100%. So the number, the white number that pops off above the enemy's head when you kill them, they will get 100% of that. Now, in terms of your weapons, they don't actually get 25%. It just so happens that your weapons get 75% of the affinity, and that is then spread evenly across your weapons. So if you only have 2 weapons equipped, then they will receive 38%. And if you only have 1 weapon equipped, I said if you only have 1 weapon equipped, then you will receive 70. So this is what then? Hold on. Ah, there we go. Then your 1 weapon will receive 75% of the affinity. Now let's go ahead and talk about how you should actually level your weapons in-game. Now, we're here in Warframe, and if you were looking for a more new player-friendly method, let me tell you right now, don't. It's not even worth the effort. Here's the thing, alright? Hear me out. It's literally 10 times faster to use this method, so you should go ahead and just push this as early as possible. Go ahead and get access to the helmet system. It's only on Mars, and then just go through the pain, get your hands on Equinox, and then immediately subsume her. She is useful on her own, but she's mostly useful when subsumed. So you can, you should level her first just to get the affinity, the mastery points, but then afterwards go ahead and subsume her. And once you've subsumed her, then you want to go ahead and okay. So we got the rest and raids. This ability here, this can put enemies to sleep. And yeah, how about I just show you how it works instead? This is the build which I will be using. Now, first up, let me just say, we don't care about strength, it's not important, and we don't care about defensive layers. We want a lot of range, a decent amount of duration, and a good bit of efficiency. Now, if you don't want to use prime sure-footed, that's fine. You can go ahead and just use a melee weapon. I did that for the longest time. You will still achieve about 80% efficiency with this. I just really like to use the Kuva Brahma for this setup. So let me go ahead and show you in-game how this is going to work. And also, if you decide to remove primed sure-footed, you can use primed flow or just flow instead. Having a little bit of extra energy is nice, but since you will be leveling up throughout the mission, you will get your energy back to max every time you level up. So it's not as important as it would be on a finished build. We will be doing the Adaro Exterminate mission on Sedna for this. Now, what you want to do is, first off, you want to be in night mode, okay? And then what you want to do is that you want to cast your second ability on the enemies, as you can see here. And we're using the rest and rate augment because it basically turns it into a ginormous AoE, which we can cast through rules as well. And then you just want to kill the enemies in one attack, which is pretty easy considering how low level they are. And then as we kill the enemies here, you will see that we get a stealth bonus at 500% right now. The stealth kill affinity bonus. So you'll essentially be getting 6 times as much affinity with this method. So just put everything to sleep and then kill it with the bow. Granted, half of the affinity will go into the bow, but that's okay because, well, you're gonna get too much affinity anyways. That's basically how you level your Warframes, and if you're really efficient about it, then you can go ahead and do this in about 2 minutes, especially if you have an affinity booster on at the same time. Alright, so let's say that, you know, I've maxed out everything in the game, but let's just pretend like I had 3 weapons that I needed to get leveled up, as well as a companion and their weapon. What should I do then? Well, if you're going solo, then I would pick Trinity, and she must be level 30, otherwise you can't enter this game mode. And I'll just use a energy vampire or maybe a sort of like a blessing build to be a little bit more helpful. Not that it's necessarily needed, but it's a nice gesture to at least pick a useful frame. Then you go to Syndicate, and you want to go, and this is after you have to complete the new strains, by the way, before you can access this mode. But you want to go to Elite Sanctuary Onslaught. This is the holy grail for farming affinity, since Railjack was nerfed in that department. Now, basically, you're hoping to get a Saren Prime, or a Mirage Prime, or something like that. A Volt Prime can do as well if he's supported by one of these other frames. And basically, you want a DPS frame which can do all of the killing for you, so that you get the 2 times affinity, right? So you're doubling your efficiency. Also, the problem is that if I need to level up my weapons, I don't actually want to ever kill anything, because the most I can do is 50% on that weapon. However, if an ally kills it, then I will get 75% spread across all of my weapons. And if I only have one weapon equipped, then that's still more than if I just killed it, because then it's 75% into that one weapon, which is why people lead so much. It's because the game basically heavily encourages you to do so. Now let's go ahead and jump into Elite Sanctuary Onslaught and take a look at what that might be like. Right, so here we are, and I got really lucky on my first try to both have a Mirage and a Saren Prime. That combination is super lethal. Now let's just pretend like I don't have a useful weapon. I can't really do anything to kill. I just have to rely on my allies to go ahead and do the job for me. I want to make sure that I'm always in affinity range of at least all of my teammates which can kill. So I'm just going to try and stay in the middle for the most part. However, if the main DPS decides to be off to one side, then I'll have to go there as well to make sure that I get the full benefit. But I can always try and position myself between them. Make sure you give some blessings to keep everyone alive. Spam your second ability to give them energy. You can also pick Wisp as a support. He's a little bit easy to get your hands on, depending upon how expensive Trinity Prime will be at this time. And yeah, that's pretty much all there is to leveling your weapons and companions and stuff. Just be in here. Now, I'm here on Saren with the focus farming build that I showed you in my last video, because there's a huge benefit to teaming up with another player. If you both have this setup and you both have a support frame, any support frame, Oberon, Trinity, Wisp, so on and so forth, you can go ahead and team up. And what you will do is that you'll do 3 rounds each time, alright? And one of you will be farming focus, at which case you don't want your allies to kill anything, so you'll just do it the 2 of you, and then you will swap so that the other person is farming focus. And while one person is farming focus, the other one will be farming affinity. This way you're always guaranteed to have a carry. So it's really good to prepare a lot of weapons. Agree with someone ahead of time that you're going to do this. You might be able to find someone over on the Discord, and then one person levels, one person farms focus. And honestly, if you do this for about an hour to an hour and a half, if you get a little bit unlucky, but you really shouldn't have to do it for that long, you can level up as many as 20 to 25 weapons and max out your focus cap, even if you are max rank like myself. So you'll probably be able to max it out a little bit sooner than that. So if you go on a huge spree to level up a lot of weapons, I would definitely recommend that you try and use this method with one of your friends or people from my Discord perhaps. And that's pretty much all there is to it. Just Elite Sanctuary Onslaught for your weapon and companion needs, and then you do the rest and raids method for your Warframes. I just want to say really quickly that for the most part, I recommend that you try to do multiple things at the same time. However, I do not recommend that you try and do so in this case. The thing is that it takes a really long time to level up something like Warframes, for example, in like just in normal missions, whereas it can be done in 2 minutes using this method. The other thing there is about it is that you're gonna be performing the missions more slowly if you are on a under-leveled frame, which means that you're being less efficient. You'd rather just go ahead and max out the frame so that they can perform at their highest level of efficiency, and then go ahead and do the other missions. Because it's so fast to level them up this way, I definitely recommend that approach. However, we're talking about weapons, it's a little bit different. If you are playing in a open lobby, as you might want to do anyways, if you bring one good weapon and a fully leveled frame, you should at least, like if you have 2 weapons that you're not planning on using, why not have some fodder in there which can be leveled up passively while you're doing something else? That's a great idea, and that I do recommend. But when it comes to actively leveling something, you're just gonna have to bite that bullet and go ahead into the Sanctuary Elite Onslaught and do it there. That's pretty much all there is to it. It's not that complex of a topic, just a little bit of a pet peeve of mine, the way that it works. But anyways, I'll see you in the next one.